Hi, everyone. Hi, Melinda. Good to see you again.
You look beautiful.
So do you. I love the colors. On a snowy day, you have to bring in color, right?
Yes.
And I also love what it says behind you. Keep smiling.
Oh, yes.
I love that.
My son swears that that's me.
So fly. Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the Salt and Light Coalition. Past the salt, we're bringing it back. And Melinda, it's such a good time to bring this back at the tail end of Human Trafficking Awareness Month in January. And so, for any of you who are joining in wondering what is Past the Salt, maybe you were just interested in this, maybe this sparked your interest, maybe you've been wondering what Salt and Light does, maybe you've wanted to know more about human trafficking and the efforts of Salt and Light to heal, empower, and thrive. You may see those words, right? But we're going to dig a little bit more into the stories behind Salt and Light. And this is for me, a candid conversation. I just want to talk with you, Melinda. I want to use this opportunity to just chat. So for any of you joining us, this is not formal. This is a way for us to, again, spread awareness and educate people about human trafficking. So Melinda, I'd love for you, well, I guess first, I should say who I am. I'm Audrina Begas. I am an anchor at CBS Chicago, that's CBS News in Chicago. And I'm also an advisory board member, new advisory board member of Salt and Light Coalition. So I am learning, just as you are, about human trafficking, about Salt and Light, and all the ways that we can identify with how we can help, how we can serve. And Melinda, I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
I am Melinda McMichael, and I am a Salt and Light graduate from Cohort 3, and I was the valedictorian of that class.
Snaps for that. Can you say Cohort 3 for people who may not understand the terminology of Salt and Light? Can you explain what that is?
So every 6 months, a new cohort of women graduate from the program, and I was the third group of women who have graduated from that program.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that. We'll dig more into that in just a bit. I do want to say that if you're watching, one cool feature we have is it's live. So we have questions that you can ask. So if something comes into your mind that you really want to know, please let us know. And I'd love to ask Melinda and help answer any questions for you. So Melinda, talk to me about what your journey was like, what your life was like before becoming a cohort, before Salt and Light.
Well, I feel like the life that I led stems a lot from intergenerational curses. My family, suffered from addictions and mental illness, mental health. I grew up in a house with domestic violence. It was stemmed all around me. And I got into relationships and I was very promiscuous, very young. I had low self-esteem, no confidence about myself. I was always very overweight and heavy. And I was seeking out for attention in any way that I could because I didn't love me. I didn't like who I was. So I started having, serious relationships very young. And a lot of those relationships were very abusive. And I started having kids very young. My 3 children's father, it was a very abusive relationship. And I had still at that time, I was 17 years old. I had no confidence whatsoever. And I started using drugs to, I guess, just fill a void and numb the pain. I just felt so alone all the time. And that led me down a really bad path. And I met this man who, saw my vulnerabilities and used them to, promote sex and to make money and, pimp me out. So that also led me down a lot of really bad paths. I stayed stuck in my addiction and in my prostitution for over 10 years. I had more children. I never knew what it was like to be a mom. I'd been raped, robbed, beat up hundreds of times, homeless. And that became my normal. That became okay. And in that process, I came across a lot more men, a lot more guys who, use my weaknesses and my vulnerabilities to their advantage. Um, my addiction really just spiraled out of control. I was walking up and down the streets of Chicago, homeless, hungry, alone.
Wow.
Um, I didn't know really what to do or who to turn to. There wasn't a lot of support for me out there. Um, I blocked out a lot of terrible things that's happened to me. Sometimes they come back and I remember like, wow, I went through this, my life is a lot different now. And I owe that to Salt and Light. And so when I got introduced to Salt and Light, I went into Haymarket Center. I had just gave birth to my sixth child, my son, Michael, and the system, DCFS took my baby.
Mm.
Um, and at this time, I was really just tired. A pain brought me in those doors. I needed to address the problem at hand, which, was my disease. I say that I'm addicted to drugs, but I was also addicted to the lifestyle. I was addicted to the money and making the money and just the lifestyle in general. And I needed to address those things before, I could become a good mother. I didn't know what that looked like, and I didn't know, where to begin. And I was introduced to Salt and Light Coalition program.
Wow. So, first of all, thank you for sharing so much of your story. Like you said, I'm sure there's parts that you've dug into, but there's parts that you block out. I think our minds block them out to protect ourselves, right? So thank you for just being courageous and sharing your story. I want to go back to one part that you talked about. You just said that you talked about addiction and you talked about a lifestyle over 10 years. And so often people may people may say, wow, I don't know how that woman got into that. Or, there's a lot of blaming and there's a lot of shaming and there's a lot of misunderstanding about this. But it seems from what you're telling us is that there's a lot of women and girls who are in situations where it's all you see around you. Like you said, family patterns, community, where you're living, what you're seeing. Can you just touch on that a little bit for me?
Yeah. So, I wasn't raised to, be religious or have much of faith. It really wasn't in my home. I've never lived anywhere else, the city of Chicago. And, women out here, they're left in vulnerable situations out here, whether they see it in their family or, with acquaintances, with friends introduce them. They're trying to fit in. There's many aspects why, how we are introduced to trauma. And how, and really, a lot of women don't need to do anything wrong. How we can get to a place that we're at. I grew up with domestic violence, severe domestic violence in my home. And, yes, my mother loved me. She loves me dearly. She always did everything that she could to protect me. But through those trying times where she was trying to learn how to protect herself from a terrible situation, I picked up, I can't think of the word. I picked up, her behaviors, and I took it into my life. That's what I thought love looked like. Was, a guy has to hit you or even talk to you so badly where you have no confidence whatsoever. I thought so low of myself. And, I had 3 kids really young, really fast, with a man he didn't love me. He didn't care about me. He didn't treat me well. He was never home. And I turned to drugs to numb the pain. And that's a reality for a lot of women out here. I work in the field. I'm in the front lines working in the field with women just like me. I do peer support work. And the stories that I've heard, a lot of these women come from good families. Just something happens along the lines that gets them to this point where they don't see anything else. they're exposed to these things and they don't know, they're not aware, they haven't been told that there are men out here that will victimize you and take your vulnerabilities and use them to their advantage in terrible, terrible ways.
Wow. Yeah. Again, thank you for sharing that with us. It's just sometimes, we talk about going through storms and going through obstacles and then sharing our stories and how those stories can become survival guides for other people. They can become roadmaps to help someone else in their steps to getting help, their steps to gaining their freedom, healing, and support. And so let's move into that time when you talked about going to, I believe, get some assistance, because like you said, you were a single mother. There was a lot of recovery that needed to happen. So can you please go to that part of going to get help and then connecting with Salt and Light or getting introduced to them?
Yeah, so I was introduced to Salt and Light through my human trafficking recovery coach at Haymarket Center. She was a wonderful woman. She guided me. She played a big role in my life. When I walked into Haymarket Center, like I said, DCFS had taken my baby, and I made a decision that at that time, whether they gave him back to me or not, I did not want to live like this anymore. So I just hit the ground running. Everything that I did was to better myself and to be the best me that I could be. And I didn't even know what that was going to look like at the end. And I still, am finding myself and becoming. So she introduced me to Salt and Light, and I just told them I'm willing to be a part of this program. I need women to show me how to be women. I hated women. Women were my competition my whole life because there was always women who were prettier than me, who were happy, who had friends, who were connected, and I just felt so alone all the time. So I dislike women deeply. And I met a lot of really powerful, strong-minded, confident women who passed those traits on to me throughout this program. And I mean, I couldn't be more grateful. There's so many things that I learned from Salt and Light, and it began with healing. It began with a healing that little girl in me that was just so broken. I didn't know what it was like to be a woman. But there were so many volunteers, so many women that came in and taught us different things, taught us how to dress, how to do our makeup, got our hair done, resume building. We prayed, we did meditations, we did devotions, we prayed to God. They gave me my faith. I didn't know God. I didn't know that part about life. I didn't know how powerful he was and the guidance that he has shown me gracefully. He is a part of my everyday life, and Salt and Light gave me that gift. I will forever be in their debt for such a gift. That's something I can never repay them for. And then when I graduated the program, I never finished anything in my whole life. I never did anything and completed something and felt so great about myself, I was just so lost, and I felt like my pain turned into passion and purpose, and my mugshots turned into miracles. And I was just so happy that I had found something to be happy about. And throughout this time and this journey with them, I was also fighting for my son. There was a lot of mountains to climb. And with those mountains is how my faith began to be restored, because even though a lot of things it was a denied, that doesn't mean that delayed. It didn't mean that it was denied. It was in God's time when he saw fit for me to be able to have my baby and keep him. Because had they gave him to me when they took him, if they would have gave him to me, I don't know if I would have known how to keep him. He gave me a safe space to heal and to transform into a great mother. And I mean, I make good decisions today.
That's amazing. I love hearing so much of this story. The part that stood out to me just now was talking about like you said, it was a delay, like it was delayed, right? And we talked about God's timing, and what I've learned, and it sounds like you've witnessed this, is so much of transformation happens in the transition and those in between times. It's like the promise that God gives us, or our desire, or what he promises these things, but it's from the time that you get the promise and the time that you actually see it, that transformation happens. And for you, like you said, so much transformation happened to a point where you were able to not only get your son, but keep him, love him, and be the mother that he needs. So that's amazing. Congratulations. When I first met you at Salt and Light and we were getting ready for the gala, I was so moved by your story. I remember my dad was there. He was moved by yours. Everyone was just moved by this because we could see how proud of yourself you were. And I think that is big. That is, giving yourself that kudos as well, is on addition to the women, like you said, that have just come alongside you. So you touched on faith a little bit and how much that was part of your journey in Salt and Light. Was there any resistance to that in the beginning? Or because I'm just imagining someone coming into a program. And also, I just want to remind you that we would love, if you have any questions for Melinda, please ask them. I know that she's very open about answering, so we just want to remind you of that. So Melinda, can you talk about, were you resistant to faith and help in the beginning? Where were you in that phase?
I mean, I was a girl. I didn't believe in anything, you know. I kind of just opened my ears and shut my mouth because I didn't know who I wanted to be. I didn't know, where this journey was going to take me. I was just willing to do what I was, receptive to people's suggestions and information. I don't think I was very resistant in regard to this program or listening. I just wanted it so bad that I was willing to do whatever it took and listen to whoever Donna, our recovery coach, Donna, or I'm sorry, she's like our spiritual advisor, recovery coach. She is an amazing woman. Her patience and her passion and her guidance and her love for this program and for us, really went a long way because, I never had that. Right. I was in treatment centers and I was in recovery homes and I was doing all these things and I was getting connected and I was staying connected. But Donna's patience and her understanding and just the guidance, she helped navigate me through, my beliefs and my traumas and helped me build a relationship with God. I couldn't thank her enough. She's an amazing woman. But I believe that I think I was very receptive. I've seen women who are not very receptive. I have clients that I have referred to Salt and Light. And one of my clients, she did not believe in God at all. And, after she was there a few months, she started mentioning God to me. And it gave me the chills because this is a woman that I met and she didn't want to discuss anything about God or faith. And that was fine. I respect that. But then as, the months went on and she became a part of the program, she started opening up to me and talking about God. That is a miracle. That is grace.
Absolutely. It really is. We have a question from someone watching, Linda. That person wants to know, once you came out of your trafficking situation, what are some of the challenges you face? Probably they mean some of the barriers you faced in getting to the next step.
Oh man, was a lot of barriers. The hardest thing that I needed to do for me was to change my thinking. And I wanted peace so bad, and I needed to let go of all the people, places, and things that made all the noise in my life. And I just needed to remove myself and take myself away from all that. Because like I said, I was addicted to the lifestyle. It was very difficult for me. It was harder for me to let go and to change my thinking about the lifestyle than it was to let go of the drugs, because I was thoroughly convinced I did not want that anymore. But when, for so many years, this is all you know how to do. This is the only way you know how to make money. This is the only way that you know how to show love is by using your body. It's hard for you to trust people, to accept anything from anybody. You just don't trust anybody. Oh my God, you want to give me something? You want to do something for me? Oh, what do you want from that? Is there something that you're going to want me to do in return? It was constantly that thinking and being stigmatized against. Even when I started my employment at the agency I work for, it was a very difficult transition from being a client at the agency to now I'm becoming staff. It took a while to gain the respect because people couldn't change their lenses. I just was a client. How did you get here so fast? Yes, I earned my seats here, but I knew a lot of these staff and these people for years of being an addict and coming in and out of these doors as just that, never wanting to change. And now here I am, an equal staff. So that was very difficult for me as well, to become and be transitioned back into society.
What would you say to someone who your journey prior to Salt and Light, we talked about so many of the things that what your life looked like. If someone is in similar situations, but they know, I want to make a change, I don't know how, I'm scared, what would you say to that person?
I guess I would say to try to only look at the first step instead of the whole staircase.
That's amazing. I really relate to that, because sometimes when we look so far ahead at like, how can I do this? How can I change this? How could this possibly be? It's so anxiety provoking. But like you said, that taking that first step. And for them, what would you say is a good first step? Because I think that's important. Sometimes we don't know what to do.
You reach out and you ask somebody for help. You can go to Salt and Light Coalition, a website, and reach out to Myra. There's a contact number and email, and you can ask for help, and we'll guide you and we'll direct you to exactly what it is that you need to do. There are people out here to help and support you.
Thanks. And I know we're running a little short on time, but what I wanted to talk about is, once you graduated from the program, can you tell me about how long the program is, and when did you complete it?
Okay, so the program it's a 1-year workforce development program. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, I graduated in June of 2019.
Yes.
Yes, right when I started working at Haymarket Center the same month that I graduated. Actually, the woman who hired me and the human trafficking people came to my graduation ceremony.
That's amazing. And just for someone who doesn't know, what is the Haymarket Center?
Haymarket Center is a substance abuse treatment center, probably one of the biggest treatment facilities in the Midwest.
Okay. And so you graduated in 2019 and you started working at Haymarket. Talk about how your life post Salt and Light, now as a working woman, and a lot has changed for you. Can you just give us that? I'd love to hear that part of the testimony.
Oh my goodness, I love my life. I'm so happy all the time and energetic. I have an amazing job, an amazing career. I steady push myself to be better than I was yesterday. So I work for a pregnant and postpartum women's program, and I am a peer recovery specialist, and I'm a birthing and postpartum doula.
Wow.
So for the viewers who doesn't know what a doula is, I help deliver the babies for the moms that are at the center.
That's amazing. And you have something major that changed as far as your family. Can you talk about that and how that really was pivotal for you?
Yeah. So after almost 3 years of fighting for my son. I have him a full custody. And today is actually my 3-year anniversary of uninterrupted sobriety and no transactions. I've had no slips, no dips, no weekend trips.
That is amazing. I don't want to like brush past that and not say congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the work you've done. Congratulations on so much. I mean, how cool is that we're doing this on the 3-year anniversary?
Yes. And you know what? Last year on my anniversary, I was on NBC5 News and I was talking about prostitution in the life of Chicago and how the cops are policing these women and not policing the Johns and letting them go. And I believe a week after that aired, they arrested almost 200 men off the street instead of the women. So it was amazing.
That is that fighting for change. Thank you for using not only your platform now, but your story, your testimony to help change the lives and the trajectory of other women's lives. I think it's such a blessing to be a blessing, right? It's that everything we go through, what's meant for bad can be used for good. God can use it for good. And I think that's one of the most amazing things, that we never know why we're going through what we're going through until we come out and I can see your smile and we can celebrate with you. I mean, that is such a testimony.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations. Is there anything else that you want to leave people with, or leave anyone watching? Anything that you feel is unsaid?
Yes. I mean, Salt and Light for me changed my life. And if there's any women out there who are in need of somebody to reach out to for help, you can contact us at any time at Salt and Light Coalition, the website, and we would be happy. I mean, they changed my life. And I know that they're going to do that for millions of women. I know it. This is going to be a forever long program. I've watched other women's lives transform. There's so much positivity and success stories they are building an army of women, and they're all amazing.
They really are. They really are. There's so much passion. There's so much service. There's so much expertise. Man, it's amazing to see the work that's done. And if you want to learn more about Salt and Light, as Melinda said, make sure to go to the website. This is a year-long program. It does focus on workforce development, but there's so much emphasis on healing through faith, through movement, through trauma-sensitive programs. And there's just so much to this. And we'd love for you, whether you know someone who may need a program like this, who needs help, whether you are someone who can support, volunteer, there are so many ways to get involved in creating change, like the change, Melinda, that we saw in your life. It's amazing to see that. My prayer for you is that you just continue to help change the trajectory of other women's lives through the work that you're doing, and that you, as just a mother and as a woman, continue to thrive.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story so courageously. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. We're going to continue to do Pass the Salt, and we would love for you to share with other people. It's a great way to learn, and each time will be different. So thank you for being with us. Sending love and light. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.